Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Big one. Follow my big one, big bucket. Big one. No? Or maybe two that. Yeah. Or with a fruit basket also. Follow my with a fruit basket also. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you so much, thank you so much. Grateful. Hare Krishna. So we'll be having Katha by his best Rohinipriya Prabhu now, 70 for 20 minutes. And then we'll be having the bhajan by Akshay. And then we'll have Krishna reading, and then there'll be midnight Arati. So we're really closing down the festival. So let's spend 1.5 hours more in Krishna consciousness. Thankful to all of you for coming and making this program an amazing success. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. How are you?
Okay, I want to, you just giving me the mic. So I do want to thank Josha Prabhu, Nilambar Prabhu, all the technical team, Rati Manjari, Mataji, Paula Mataji. There are so many people, right? We just came and took the bouquet. But he is so humble, his wife, everybody. So I think a big haribol to everybody who participated.
Jai is here. Toshan Prabhu.
I would like to give this to him.
Toshan Prabhu is here.
They
gave already.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for according.
Yeah, Toshan Prabhu here. Toshan is here.
You know what? Give it to.
Toshan Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Here you go. You're embarrassing me.
Yeah, because you did a masterpiece, but you already.
Huh?
He already received.
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is my husband.
Okay.
Online already?
Yes. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Zoom is on? Oh, this already is on.
So next up on the program is Rohinipriya Prabhu, senior disciple of Janmashtami, who will be joining us all the way from Janmashtami again, but we'll do a little ABC period with before it comes on.
Like people like when they are not looking, maybe we can make that nice on the collage.
So his name, Rohinipriya Prabhu from Janmashtami is online now. I would like to give the floor to him. Thank you for joining us, Prabhu. Very welcome him.
Hare Krishna.
Turn up your volume a bit because
Can you please try now, Prabhuji, speaking?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Is that good?
Good to go, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, the camera is all right. Hare Krishna. Huh? I'm not really sure.
We can hear you, Prabhu.
Oh, so should I start?
Yes, you can start, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to wish all of the devotees there in the Netherlands very happy Janmashtami. Oh, thank you. I am a little lucky here because right now my stomach is full. I just had prasad. We celebrated Prabhupada's Vyas Puja here in Sammamish, Washington State, the United States. And I wish I could feel a little sorry for all of you. But I'm really very happy that we are celebrating Janmashtami, the appearance day of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. It's a very jubilant and important occasion. So I'm from India and I'm going to tell you a story from India. You ready for that? Okay. So for many, many years, many centuries in the recent past, the people from the West who were a little educated thought that India was the land of snakes and snake charmers. And there was some idea that it is also the land of wisdom. There have been many wise men and women over the centuries from this tract of land. So, presently, India is that tract of land which is between the Himalayas, the Himalayan mountains to the north, and the Indian Ocean to the south. So there are many stories, and some of these stories they seem like nice tales, folklores, and they're full of meaning. So this particular story is about a very simple man who was a widower. His wife had passed away. He was quite elderly, 70s. So feeling a bit alone, he decided to have a pet parrot. So he went to the market, and the story is that this market had many interesting people there. It's like one of the markets that are described in the Arabian Nights. So there were many animals and birds of different kinds, and they had all been trained, domesticated. So he looked for a parrot, and he found a parrot. And the merchant, seller, said that this parrot is a very holy parrot. So the old man was a little taken aback. He said, what does that mean? And he was told that the parrot speaks little, eats very frugally, and is always in trance or meditation. And if you're lucky enough, the parrot could speak to you in the human language. So the old man was definitely very, very curious. He said, all right, let me take the parrot. So he had this parrot for a couple of months. The parrot was very quiet. And yes, the parrot ate frugally, was essentially very quiet. The old man was happy just being with the parrot. He had some company. Now there comes a holy person to his village, his little town, and his community. And they have arranged for the holy man to speak to them, a wise holy man, to speak to them, to the members of the community, about some his teachings, sacred teachings. And this was supposed to be a 5 to 7 day program where the holy person would speak in the evening. So the first day of the program, the old man was leaving his house. So he felt obliged to let the parrot know that he would be absent from the house for some time. The parrot asked him, for the first time the parrot spoke in a human voice. Where are you going? He said, and the old man did not feel that this was something unusual. He was a very simple person, a very simple old man. So he said, well, I'm going to this nice program where we are going to hear about the holy teachings and hear some wise words. So the parrot said, okay. Please let me know what was spoken about when you come back. So the old man comes back in the night, and the old man says whatever he could remember from the program, he repeats that to his parrot. The parrot listens very intently. The next day, the second day of the program, the old man again gets ready to leave, And he tells his parrot, please take care of yourself. I'm leaving. And he expects the parrot to reply back. The parrot is quiet. The old man doesn't find this unusual, so he goes to the program. When he comes back, the parrot asks him, what happened today? And the old man spoke, well, this wise person, he spoke about how one must be inquisitive about the goal of life, and one must try to find a way to understand the mysteries of life. And then there were certain things that he spoke about I couldn't really understand, but he was speaking about how one must become free from the bondage of this world. The old man said, I did not really understand that much, but I really like him. I like the way he speaks. I like his demeanor. The parrot was quiet. The next day, when the old man leaves for the program, the third day, the parrot talks to him and says, could you please ask this wise person, how would I get liberated? The old man said, what is liberation? And the parrot said, you'll hear about it in the program today. The old man was a little surprised that how did the parrot know what was going to be the subject matter? So he was a little curious again. So he goes to the program. Nothing is spoken about liberation or even the word liberation. So he comes back and the parrot asks him, could you ask the wise man how I could be liberated? And the old man says, no. And the parrot asks, why? And he says, well, you said that he would be speaking about liberation. He did not speak about liberation, so I did not ask. The parrot kept quiet. So the fourth day, the old man goes to the program again. And as he's leaving, the parrot says, please, today, please ask the wise person, how would I be liberated? He says, all right, I will do that. So he goes to the wise person. After the program, he approaches the wise man and he says, oh, holy person, oh, holy saint, holy man, I have a parrot, and my parrot has asked a question of you. The holy man gazes at him, looks at him very intently, and doesn't utter a word. The old man doesn't find this unusual because, well, this is a holy person, and he is very simple-minded. So he just repeats the parrot's question. He said, my parrot asked, how would it be liberated? The wise man doesn't say anything. The old man goes back home. The parrot asks, did you ask him? And the old man said, yes, I did ask him. So what was his answer? He said he just kept quiet. Tomorrow is the last day of the program. This is a 5-day program. So the parrot said, please, please, please request him that I really, really, really want to know how to be liberated, how to get liberation. So the old man, he goes to the wise person after the speech, after the presentation, after the talk, and he says, my parrot is really requesting you. How can it be liberated? When the wise person hears that, the wise person falls down unconscious. Now the old man is really fearful. What just happened? What would I be accused of? So he quietly leaves that place. And he comes back home. The parrot asked him, did you ask him a question? The question. And the old man said, yes, I did. What happened? He didn't give an answer. What happened? He said, when I asked the question, he just fell down as if he was dead. Practically, he had no life. He appeared lifeless. So I just snuck away from there. When the parrot heard that the old man had fallen down practically lifeless, the parrot fell down lifeless in the cage. Now the old man was shocked. He said, what happened? I asked the question there to the wise man. The wise man falls down practically lifeless. I'm not even sure whether he's alive or not. I come back here, I tell the parrot that the wise man has, for all practical purposes, I think is dead. He just fell down lifeless. And the parrot falls down lifeless. What is happening? So being very concerned, he gets a small bowl of water. He opens the cage. He picks up his parrot, puts the parrot on the table, and then he turns around to kind of use the water in the bowl. And when he looks around, the parrot has flown away. The old man is shocked. The next day, the wise man is leaving the village. The old man comes to visit him. The wise man looks at him and he said, "Where is your parrot?" And the old man says, "Just flew away." The wise man smiled. The old man asked him, can you tell me what happened? And he said, "Your parrot is very intelligent." He said, "How? How so?" He said, "Well, you asked me a question on behalf of your parrot, that how could it get liberated? I realized that the parrot was in the cage. What did you go and tell the parrot?" The old man said, "I told the parrot that you fell down practically lifeless." "And what happened after that?" He said, "My parrot fell down lifeless." "And then what happened after that?" "And then I picked up my parrot and put it outside the cage, and then the parrot flew away when I was not paying attention." And the old man smiled and he said, "Yes, you couldn't understand that I had already answered the question through action rather than words." But the parrot understood. "Do you realize what this means?" And the old man said, "No, I don't." He said, "The parrot naturally, or the constitutional position of the parrot is to be free, not in a cage. Somehow or the other, the parrot has landed itself in a cage." The parrot understood that it is not in its natural constitutional position. So the parrot was wanting to understand how to be free. The old man said, "Well, the parrot could speak. If he had told me, maybe I would have let him free." And the old man said, "Well, the parrot, it got what it wanted. What about you? You are also in a similar position. You are a beautiful part and parcel of God, spiritual being. You give life to matter. This body without you would be lifeless. Your existence in this body gives it life. When are you going to realize that you're caged in? And when you realize that you're caged in, you would seek answers to how you should be free. I'm sorry if this story is a little sobering, but I felt I could narrate this story, especially if most of you are on an empty stomach. This could be a nice story. The message intended is, as I said, India is a land of wisdom. So there is some wise message, some teaching at every corner, at every point in life. Now, whether one understands it or not, that is a different subject matter. So here we are trying to celebrate Janmashtami. And Janmashtami is the day, if you are aware about all of you, I'm assuming that there may be some of you that may not be totally aware of the appearance of Lord Krishna. Janmashtami is basically where the followers of Lord Krishna celebrate his appearance in this material world. And his appearance is basically in a jail cell, in a prison cell. And the holy scriptures and the holy teachers, the gurus, have explained that the Lord's appearance is to help everyone understand how to find their way back home, back to Godhead, freedom from this material world of bondage. And how is this world a world of bondage? Because here we are forced by the bodily changes to accept a temporary existence. We are forced to be born. We are forced to become, to turn into, from a baby born, we just kind of, we don't have any other option. There's no other vikalpa, no other option than to just turn into a crawling baby, then turn into a toddler, then a young child, a young person, youthful person, a middle-aged person, early old age, late old age, and death. And through all of this, the body undergoes transition, and unfortunately for most of us, this transition affects us. It affects our functioning. It affects the way we think, the way we process objects around us. Although all of us would want not to go through this transition. So there is the bondage. I was once, traveling around, and I happened to meet a wise person. Just happened to meet a person who I thought is wise because the person had a long beard, long hair, and seemed to be living by himself. So I approached that person and I sincerely inquired of him, "My dear sir, what is your practice? You're here all by yourself and you seem to be enlightened. You kind of have that vibe around you. So what is the practice that you have adopted?" And he looked at me and he said, "What is the difference between you and the dog that is lying down there besides you?" So I had my answer ready because, at that point of time, I'd read the scripture. So I said, yes, I'm a human, that is a dog, so I can understand spiritual knowledge and the dog cannot. And the man looked very compassionately at me, this wise person, and he said, "Son," he was very elderly, he said, "Son, the real difference is you can ask why and the dog cannot." I said, "No, that's not true. The dog can also ask why." And I tried to explain to him, like, why not here to sleep? Why not there to sleep? Why not this to eat? Why not that to eat? I mean, the dog also seems to be intelligent. And he smiled at me and he said, "But you can ask why you're forced to go through all of that. And the dog cannot ask that." And when you make an inquiry like that, why am I forced to go through all of this? Then you would like to really understand how to overcome, how to transcend this imposition. And I was amazed. I said, yeah, that's a simple answer, because even after understanding knowledge and knowing and having knowledge, many times I don't think that I ask why. Because there's so many other things that the mind gets involved in. And the real why is, why am I still forced to go through all of this transition? And why is it that I thirst for something more stable, eternal? Even if I have knowledge that I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I still have to ask why. Because if I ask why, then I'll seek an answer. And every time one seeks an answer, it opens a door to new possibilities. One can ask, one can understand, and one can realize newer concepts. Or it could be further realizations. What are the challenges? The challenges are that sometimes the mind may understand, but the heart does not. Or sometimes the heart understands, but the mind is too adamant. It's very difficult when both the mind and the heart are in sync in asking why and seeking the answer to that big why, the big why with the capital W. Why am I forced to all of this? Even after understanding spiritual knowledge, still I'm being forced to go through this, and it is affecting me. Where is the stability of mind and consciousness? How can I be equipoised? So the challenges are, there are basically the distractions that we face. And what is these distractions? Typically, these distractions are related to our various levels of intelligence, material intelligence. You see, material intelligence is always trying to seek solutions to material problems. Oh, I feel hungry, so what could I eat? Where is the food joint? Where is the serving table? I feel tired, so where could I rest my body? So these material problems, I eat now, 12 hours from now, 4 hours from now, I'm again going to feel the urge to eat because I would be hungry. I've rested my body 12 hours from now, 24 hours from now, I would again find myself in a situation where I have to rest my body. So simple things like that are distractions. How are they distractions? Because they lead to so many other options for seeking comfort in these material solutions. So should one kind of just reject this world? No, it is not about rejection. Here the idea is, are we aware that the material intelligence is constantly seeking solutions to material problems? Are we aware of that? Because as soon as we are aware of that, then we can deal with this intelligence. We can tolerate the urges of this material intelligence and do what is necessary, do what is required, not go overboard. For example, if I'm running a mile and after half a mile, I feel tired, but I know that I have to complete the mile, then I tolerate the pain and the little discomfort, knowing very well that I have to complete the remaining distance. So I'm aware of what my challenge is. I'm aware of what my situation is, and I do the needful. So there has this distraction of the material intelligence seeking solutions to every single material problem is a challenge. So as intelligent beings, we have to rationalize, or as rational beings, we have to think, what are the problems that are really needed to be addressed? And what are the problems that really just need to be tolerated? Knowing very well that in this material world, things are in constant flux. Today's daytime is going to be the nighttime of the future. The present nighttime is going to be the daytime of the future. The present summer is going to be the winter. Winter is going to become the summer. There's always this cyclical change, knowing very well. So tolerance is important. Tolerate that which is unessential, even though it really puts a lot of pressure on us that this solution is so important. It is most important for you. Have the solution to your problem. Maybe there is another option that is simply tolerate it and do what? Do the needful. Address that which is essential. How do you understand what to address? How do you know which is essential and which is not really essential at any particular point? Ask the question why. Seek the answer to why. That is what this wise person taught me. This person with this deep, compassionate eyes, living practically in the wilderness, taught me what is the difference between you and the dog that is there right beside you. A very, very nice dog, I mean, loyal to this gentleman, his friend practically. But he told me that he kind of pointed out to me the difference. So, how does what are the ways that the material intelligence seeks solutions always? When I was introduced to the idea of spirituality, the inner, someone gave a presentation that seems very intriguing. And the topic of the presentation was material solutions create more problems. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. The person is going to speak on it would practically be using a microphone and a speaker, would be dressed up in all these, the factory made clothes. These are all solutions to material problems. And now this person is going to be speaking on material problems, material solutions lead to more problems in life. That was very intriguing. I'm not going to get into what happened there in that presentation. However, over the years, I've realized that many deep or very complicated questions can be explained by very simple analogies or examples. And one of the examples that I find very relevant to explain how in practically everyone's life, we find that material solutions creates more problems is because the way the intelligence handles situations in life. It is like this. In this example, there are two people on a boat, happy-go-lucky type people. The boat, they kind of row the boat to the middle of the stream or the middle of the river. And then they realize that their feet are wet. And then they realize that water is slowly filling into the boat. So they look around for the leak. And then one person, there are two people in the boat. So one of them notices a leak and notices a very tiny leak at one corner of the boat. He says, this is where the water is coming in from. So the other person jumps up very energetically. Somehow the other the person has a hammer and a chisel, takes that and starts hammering this chisel into the hull of the boat at the other end. The first person asks him, what are you doing? He said, I'm making another hole. He said, oh, why is that? Well, that is where the water enters and this is where it will exit. Entry and exit. Well, it seems to be logical unless and until you are grown up and you realize that there are certain ways, or just because you have two doors doesn't mean that one would be entry and the other would be exit. Always. Not in this situation. Because many a times when you open up a door seeking an exit, having entered a room from another door, knowing that that door only allows you to enter when you seek another door to for an exit. In this life that we lead, we find that door opens up. It brings you other issues from the world outside. So this is a little. I like this story because it helps me understand that, yeah, I may not be that stupid that I would kind of make another hole in the boat. I may not be that stupid. But obviously, if I look back at how things have unfolded in my life, I find that many a time it is me that has opened the door for more issues to creep into my life. I was thinking that that is the way out of it. And suddenly I find that I'm engulfed by more and more distractions, trying to seek more solutions. So, as the old man stated, ask the question why. Because when you ask the right question, make the right inquiry, it simplifies your life. You learn to live with the essential, and you learn to be happy, tolerating, or giving up the unessential. So, the Supreme Lord appeared in this world within a prison cell. And it's very interesting that the Lord appears in a cell which is supposed to kind of keep people bound up in a prison cell. But by the Lord, by his appearance, that is what Lord Krishna's appearance is about. He finds and lets others know how to get out of the prison cell. It's easy for a person who's outside of the prison cell to tell us this is what you have to do. Much more easier and helpful would be if someone from the inside guides you step by step how to get out of the prison cell. Many times people ask, why should the Supreme Lord appear? Because he wants to be the inside person. He wants to be our man, my person, helping us walk every step out of the prison cell. So that is another sobering thought about Janmashtami. Okay, how much time do I have? 2:14 here.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Do you have some more time or should I conclude?
We're ready for the
Yes, Prabhuji.
and midnight
Okay. So I'll conclude by telling you a story. This is about the Supreme Lord's appearance and how he has this wonderful dealings with his devotees. So we are practicing Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the process that teaches us to ask the right questions, seek the right answers, and then with those answers, fortifying ourselves with those answers, we walk our path. We undertake the journey of salvation, of trying to get free. There is an important aspect of our personality, and that is that we are sentient beings, which means that we have feelings and we have the ability to assuage, or we have the ability to understand those feelings as spirit soul. And because we have the ability to understand feelings, therefore we understand relationships. And hence, most of the Vedic literature speak about the relationship between the individual soul and the Supreme Lord. So in India, there is a very wonderful temple of Lord Krishna in the in, in the state of Odisha. The place is close to the temple town of Jagannath Puri. This town has been named after the Lord himself. So the Lord is Sakshi Gopal, and the town is also called as Sakshi Gopal or Sakshi Gopal. So the Lord there is Sakshi Gopal. So this story is about a couple of centuries old. Jagannath Puri is another temple town, and this temple town is ruled over by a king. Even today, we have the king of Jagannath Puri called as the king of Puri, Puri Raj or Puri Naresh. The queen, the king's wife, was a very was very devoted to the deity of Sakshi Gopal. So one day, and she had these feelings of the Lord being like a human, like a person with whom she could interact with, not just made of stone, but actually a person. She had these emotions about the Lord. So one day, and she was very devoted lady. There were so many ways that people could understand, the people of the subjects of the kingdom could understand that the queen is very holy and very, very saintly lady, including the king too. The king was also a saintly person. So she interacted with the Lord as if the Lord was a person. So one day she wanted to offer the Lord a nose ring. So Krishna, he likes, or sometimes we adorn him with nose rings too. We decorate him with nose rings. So she got a very special nose ring made for the Lord, and then she came to offer the Lord the nose ring. And then she looked at the Lord, at the deity form. Krishna is his four-handed form, is very tall. And she noticed that his nose does not have a hole in it. Now, for those of you who know about Indian traditions, typically, generally in India, mainly it is the females and sometimes the males also, they kind of prick their nose and then they place a nose ring there or a small article there on the nose. So she was a little concerned that how would I make this nose ring stay on the nose of the Lord? Those are the days where there were no blue tacks and things like that. She couldn't glue it to the Lord's face. So she felt so terrible that I made a nose ring and I didn't even think that my Lord would not be able to wear this nose ring. I was so engrossed in my own feelings that I did not realize that maybe this is not the right thing to do. The Lord does not have a hole in his nose. He does not have um, the nose ring would not stay on his nose. So the next day, she felt really terrible throughout the night. So early morning, she came to beg forgiveness from the Lord, and she came and she bowed down her head and folded her palms and sought forgiveness from the Lord. And then she looked up, and and she saw that the Lord now had a small, tiny little hole in his nose. The Lord manifested a hole for his devotee who had sincere feelings of devotion and service towards the Lord. This is not just sentiment. It is a very highly evolved state of spiritual realization, where in our desire to serve the Lord, we rise above our own understanding of what's rational or irrational, accept the Supreme Lord as a person the Supreme Person who's completely pure and devoid of any material coverings, any material impurities, totally pure existence, and then want to serve the Lord. Then we find there's a reciprocation, and this reciprocation satisfies that ability that we have to understand feelings and emotions. So the real emotional need of every being is to be connected to the ultimate pure sentient being. The word Krishna means all attractive. Therefore, the most pure sentient being is definitely all attractive, and we can address that person by the name Krishna. And Krishna consciousness means to be conscious that our ability to understand feelings, which is very natural to us, is perfectly satisfied when we try to serve the supreme sentient, the supreme and pure sentient being, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. And to be able to re-invoke or revive this feeling of service, there's a process that is offered in the scriptures, which many practitioners in Krishna consciousness adopt, and that is chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. I wish all of you a very, very happy Janmashtami. And let us all sincerely pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that we may be able to use our intelligence to understand, to be able to live with what is essential, and to be able to tolerate or even give up that which is unessential, and finally find solace and shelter in the fact that we can eternally exist having pure sentient feelings for the Supreme Sentient Being, the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much to Rohinipriya for joining us in the middle of your night, and even between Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada's Appearance Day. So thank you so much, and please give Prabhu a big Haribol for his inspiring words.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Okay, so now we move on to the next part of the program, while Rohinipriya logs off. And I'm looking at the number. Are we having Kirtan?
15 minutes Kirtan.
15 minutes Kirtan by